Welcome to our weather impact report, where we take a look at the top weather stories here in Georgia and around the nation. I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss. There's a lot of weather to talk about this week, and let's start right here in Georgia on Saturday night. Strong storms swept through metro Atlanta, seriously injuring at least one person, and that was a 12-year-old girl. A terrifying moment at the Paulding Meadows Arts Festival. The Paulding County Sheriff's Office posting that part of a tree and limbs from another tree fell on top of the young girl. The family says that she suffered serious injuries, including a fractured skull and a bruised lung, and now is on a breathing tube at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. A GoFundMe is also underway to help her. Doctors say that she has a long recovery ahead. Those same storms led to damage and delays across much of metro Atlanta. You can see the lightning and the winds in that video. Some of the worst structural damage we saw was to a roof at a motel in Cobb County. 11 Live's Galat Malamed has more.
Crews rushed to clear massive debris torn from the red roof fan along George Busby Parkway in Cobb County. Bradley Kilkelly was working next door at Pep Boys.
And then I hear this crazy storm start and the roof just flew. I thought it was our roof for a second.
Only to find the motel's roof on a car. Luckily, he says there's barely damage to it.
Yeah, a lot of people from the hotel actually came out and were like moving it off the car once the storm stopped.
A Red Roof Inn employee says no one was hurt. About 5 miles away at Cobblestone Golf Course.
Yes, this is definitely one of the largest out here that fell today.
The storm uprooting about 10 trees on the course, forcing them to close for the rest of the day.
We got pretty lucky. Most of the trees fell in areas that we're going to be pretty easily able to cut up and recover.
Cobblestone Golf Course assistant pro Ed Dudek is relieved no one was hurt.
It definitely came pretty fast. We had golfers on the course that we were able to get off successfully.
Those golfers weren't the only ones taking cover. Georgia fans ran to shelter as rain poured down on Sanford Stadium. Despite the game even starting early to try and avoid the worst of the storm, there was a lightning delay. Tech fans also forced to find shelter, the rain delaying the home opener by about 45 minutes.
Texas had a really rough year with flooding, and unfortunately, the tragedies continued this week when 2 bodies were found on Monday. This all happened in San Antonio after heavy storms on Sunday night. One body was found along the edge of a creek, with police believing to be an apparent drowning. The second body was also found nearby. Officers had been searching the area for flooding victims after there were reports of 3 missing homeless people who had not been seen since Sunday before the storm. The third missing homeless person was found safe and sound. Police say there are no other missing people from this storm. San Antonio wasn't the only area of Texas to see torrential rain. Storms in Houston also caused serious flooding. Some roads were overcome by water so quickly it left a lot of drivers stranded. Others spent the holiday weekend cleaning up all the damage after their homes and apartments were flooded. The state of Texas has been through so much this year. Survivors of the fatal 4th of July floodwaters in Texas are still reliving those terrible moments. In fact, one camper is still missing. Some now wonder what they will do next, while others push for change. Allie Spilliers has the story of 2 survivors.
My whole world was ripped out from me.
Cell phone video and photos only show the aftermath.
This all happened like we didn't even have 10 minutes.
The true terror of what happened on July 4th lives in the memories Jackie Burton continues to relive.
I rented a room to a coworker, and his girlfriend was 6 months pregnant, staying the weekend. And then she called 911, and they told her to get to higher ground. And we opened the door and we're like, there is no ground. And he told her, we're jumping, let's go. And I just heard her scream, and then they didn't answer me. So I was scared they died. I didn't know. And right after that, I'm just standing there holding my dog, and we just kind of just floated out the door.
Burton says the water pushed her and her dog Jack 2 properties over.
These trees over there is where I ended up.
She was clinging on when the real nightmare began.
I thought if I just let go really quick, that I could just get my boot on, As soon as I let go with my right hand, I lost Jack. I lost my bag, my flashlight, and the boot. I lost everything.
Like the 2 homes here, the people who were there had to swim out of them.
Across Highway 39,
The further we go this way is the deeper the water was.
33 homes in Bumblebee Hills flooded. Hailey Nydevers was one of just 5 that were spared.
You know, you're grateful to have your home, but what's it like now to be in a neighborhood that's essentially empty?
It's lonely. And it's weird.
Nydevers now advocating for those who weren't as lucky. She says here it's been neighbors helping neighbors and volunteer groups showing up to muck out the waterlogged homes.
City Committee on Disaster Preparedness and Flooding will come to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Last month, Nydevers sat through a 13-hour hearing.
I have met no local county officials in Hunt or in my neighborhood.
Testifying in front of lawmakers.
Texans are showing up for each other every single day. Now it's time for our elected leaders to do the same. Please use the authority you already have to release emergency funds and make this session about flood recovery and nothing else.
We need more scientists, more data collected. We need to be armed with the information so that hopefully this won't happen again. And there obviously needs to be regulations in place to keep people safe. Common sense things like camp guidelines.
Decisions that could impact who's allowed to rebuild.
Everything was destroyed.
Burton says she's still deciding whether to stay or go. For now, she's living with a friend, passing on a motorhome she was gifted to another survivor.
I don't know what I need or what I want to do or anything.
So even if you had all the resources, you're just not ready.
Yeah, basically, I just don't know.
This riverfront was once Burton's paradise. Though it looks nothing like it did 2 months ago, she still loves this community along the Guadalupe and hopes to find a way to give back all it's given her.
The support, the generosity and kindness have been equally matched by the horror and terror that I went through.
It's been 2 months since that devastating flood killed campers and counselors at a girls' camp in Texas. Friday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed legislation to help prevent future tragedies, known as the Heavens 27 Camp Safety Act, in honor of the 27 people who perished at Camp Mystic. The bill aims to address gaps in disaster preparedness by improving camp safety and streamlining the emergency response. Camps must also have emergency rooftop ladders in every cabin in a 100-year floodplain.
Every child who goes to camp should come home to their families. No parent should ever have to outlive their child or endure this kind of loss. So today, through these laws, we are doing more than just changing campgrounds in Texas. We are changing the future for our children and for their families.
Evacuation warnings were issued for people in Central California Tuesday morning as a wildfire continues to grow. The Tutu fire has burned more than 1,000 acres and forced the highway to close. Our residents were not required to evacuate immediately. They were told to remain on alert if conditions become threatening. The fires also impacted air quality in parts of Northern California. Just a few hours later in Chinese Camp, California, a wildfire destroyed a number of homes. Peyton Headley in Sacramento shows us the fire from up close.
When we first pulled into the community of Chinese Camp at about 5:45 this afternoon, plumes of black smoke filled the horizon. Fires were burning in fields and on properties. Retardant drops were hard to see behind clouds of thick smoke. As we pulled in closer into a neighborhood along Red Hill Road, we saw the destruction this fire left. The flames tore through homes, properties, cars, and power poles as the wind spread embers up and down the neighborhood. From there, we drove along Highway 120 towards Sims Road. We're a little less than a mile from Red Hill Road right now, and you can see just how far this fire spread. Multiple homes here along Highway 120 are also burning. Propane tanks on one of the properties sending flames shooting up into the air. And by the time we got back to Red Hills Road just before 8 o'clock tonight, another property, another home had gone up in flames, joining a number of properties that have burned on this stretch of road here. And as the sun begins to set, you can see those huge flames and the embers that they're sending off with the smoke and the wind.
Anytime that you see any type of destruction, it's tough.
Jamie Williams with CAL FIRE says it's been a challenging day with this fire as just one of more than a dozen fires they're battling.
So our priority is life and then property and then, protecting the resources. So we do our best to get people out of the way, get them safe.
Now on to hurricanes. The Atlantic has had a relatively quiet hurricane season so far, but things are different in the Central Pacific Basin. Hurricane Kiko weakened Saturday afternoon, but has re-intensified back to a Category 4 storm. While Kiko is expected to gradually weaken over the next several days, impacts from rain and wind remain a possibility, and swells generated by the storm are expected to begin reaching the Big Island and Maui by Sunday, potentially producing life-threatening surf and rip currents. Here's how people are preparing.
Kevin Van Ness rushed to Home Depot on Friday morning to stock up on supplies for him, his wife, and 7 children, including trash bags and 4 generators.
You never know what can happen to the power plant or the power poles, anything like that. So if something does happen, at least we'll still have power for our food and our families.
While Kiko's not expected to impact the islands till next week, he's preparing now.
We still got to go get oil, gas, propane, toilet papers, different things like that around, so we still got quite a few things to do.
Meantime, the county has activated its Emergency Operations Center and is tracking the storm with civil defense, federal, and state officials, taking a cue from 2014's tropical storm Iselle, which initially was expected to weaken, but became the strongest tropical cyclone to make landfall on Hawaii Island.
We are ready, and we are ready to engage when the time comes.
Crews have been clearing debris and drainage areas and filling sandbags. Flooding and power outages are big concerns, especially for the east side and Hamakua coast, along with damaging surf and strong winds.
Given the Lahaina situation, we're all super conscientious of trees and power lines and trees that are too close to the house, not just because it might fall on the house, but if there's a fire, that becomes an issue.
We're reviewing our emergency procedures, going through our checklist, checking through our staffing plans to make sure that we have all the resources and the people that we're going to need to respond to any kind of impacts.
The county is also tapping into federal resources, including U.S. Coast Guard assets and about 2,500 Hawaii National Guard soldiers who are on island for training and now on standby should they be needed.
That emergency proclamation, it affords me the authority and access to funding that I don't normally have to place soldiers and airmen into a state active duty status, and we can reduce our response times.
Of course, we hope for the best, but the worst thing is to not be prepared and have regrets after.
Officials advise residents to secure loose items that could go airborne and cause damage. Review evacuation routes and emergency plans, and don't wait till the last minute to get supplies in order to avoid the crowded rush we saw during the tsunami warning.
We've been through this before, so just making sure that everybody's safe, all in one place, cancel all the sporting events and things that we do just to stay home as a family.
Well, we've all heard of tornadoes and even fictional sharknadoes, but Tuesday's eruption of Kilauea volcano created something pretty rare. The USGS live stream camera caught a whirlwind. You can see it right there next to the volcano, kicking up loose ash along the active crater, causing a volnado. The USGS say volcanoes are caused by a mix of hot and cold air. Kilauea eruption's 30-second episode sent lava fountains up to 500 feet into the air. The current eruption has been ongoing since last December. In Afghanistan, search and rescue crews are looking for survivors of a devastating earthquake. The 6.0 magnitude quake hit the country's eastern region just before midnight. It killed more than 800 people and hurt more than 2,000 others. Rescuers were having a hard time reaching some of the remote regions in the eastern part of the country, where victims were trapped because of landslides and destroyed roads. Well, Labor Day means the unofficial end to summer. It's time to break out the sweaters and pumpkin spice lattes. It also means looking forward to the fall foliage. Jen Sullivan looks at how this summer's extreme heat and heavy rain could impact the autumn colors and where the best places are in the U.S. to view them.
The end of summer means the vibrant green leaves will soon transition to the warm hues of orange, yellow, and red, turning mountain ranges into mosaics of fall colors.
It's a really great opportunity to just get yourself outdoors, look at something beautiful.
Brett Keller is the CEO of Priceline. The travel site recently came out with a list of the best places for leaf peeping this year, and clocking in at #1 was the Hudson Valley region in New York.
We typically look at accommodation trends, and we also are able to understand how far away those consumers are from those accommodations.
These radiant colors generate a lot of green for local economies. In Vermont alone, the state estimates the fall foliage brings in around $1 billion in visitor spending.
It is a major driver of our tourism industry.
William Keaton is a professor at the University of Vermont. He says there are a variety of factors as to why some areas experience more vibrant colors than other regions. One being the vast contrast between temperatures during the day and at night, the variety of tree species, and the landscape.
Fall foliage is a delicate dance between a number of things, and climate is one of the most important.
This summer brought intense heat and excessive rainfall to parts of the country. Keaton says those extreme weather patterns impact how vibrant the colors will be and when the leaves will begin to change.
These kinds of extremes create stresses in trees. They begin to brown up and drop their leaves sooner than they otherwise would.
Keaton says climate change could also cause the fall foliage season to shorten over time. If you do want to carve out time to see the fall colors, they typically peak in the beginning of October in the Northeast. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
With September being National Preparedness Month, it's important to remember to be prepared for natural disasters. A new survey from Talker Research found that many Americans lack a disaster plan. Don't be one of those people. Make sure that you have a plan in place so that you are prepared as well as your family. With your Weather Impact Report, I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss.